whole idea behind these the whole idea behind these ABC meetings is to help appraisers just connect, get to know each other, swap ideas, and to help each other grow. This is our first meeting, so you guys are kind of guinea pigs. The goal is to have meetings like this in every region around the country because a lot of us work alone, and sometimes it's like working on an island. But the truth is, the appraiser down the road from you may be your best referral source. When you know who's nearby you, what kind of work they specialize in, you can confidently refer them to your clients on stuff you can't take on. Whether it's outside your coverage area, time sensitive, whether you do residential and it's a commercial job. So that's the whole goal of these meetings, is just to get to know each other. And with that, it's going to be participation today. So let's go around. You can share your name, where you're located, what kind of work you focus on, how many years you've been in business, and anything else you want to share. What's working for you in your business, any non-lender issues. And then after this, we'll have like an open forum and we can talk about whatever is going on in your region. So Brent, you want to start? Your first name on the list, I see.
Sure, I'll start. My name is Brent Chris Steerson. I'm a commercial real estate appraiser. I'm an MAI. I only do commercial work. I don't do any residential, so I'm always looking for good residential guys to refer to. I'm in the Sacramento area. I travel up as far as Redding, as far south as Fresno. I don't really go into the Bay Area, but I'll go into like Napa or Solano County out that way, and to the state line to the east. Um, I've been doing this a long time, a lot longer than I want to admit. It's almost 30 years now, so long time. Um,
Nice.
that's kind of it.
So you do a lot of non-lender work now?
I do probably about half and half, about 50
Nice.
50 right now.
That's a good mix to keep you steady with work.
Yeah, that's exactly what it does. And that way I can pick and choose the lender work that I want to do and the lender work that I don't want to do.
Totally correct. I'm right there with you. Charles, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Charles Bartlett, MAI, commercial work. My firm's called Vistal Real Estate Valuation. I cover Ventura to the border, Southern California. Just, your typical fee appraiser, office, industrial, retail, multifamily, land, proposed development, typical run-of-the-mill stuff. Kind of stay away from hotels and self-storage, kind of the niche property types. Predominantly, I would say like 95% lender work, unfortunately. Haven't really been able to branch into, private client stuff other than just what I get off my website or, Google business page. So, been an appraiser for 17 years now. So,
Oh, that's cool. And anything that's working well for you right now? How's your Google business page doing? Is you getting a lot of calls every day or what?
no, kind of, some submissions on my website and a couple, every once in a while a call off a Google page, but I feel like, I feel like the Google page or Google business page works great for, you know, I guess residential because you're just your average person kind of looking for an appraiser. Whereas, most of my clientele is not just your average person. It's either an estate planner or a lawyer or kind of something, someone more focused and not, I guess not necessarily looking at Google. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that a lot down here is consumers. I'm in Southeast Florida. Consumers don't know the difference between a commercial appraiser and a residential appraiser. They see appraiser and call. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. And that's,
in residential is more prevalent than commercial. So
yeah. And I have referred, I don't have a relationship with a ton of residential guys, and most of the ones I have relationships with, they'd love to do really complicated stuff and not just your typical residential appraisal. So, that's where, your platform comes into play, and I've been able to refer a couple residential deals. So
nice. Sung, you want to go next? Am I saying that right, Sung? All right, Brian, you're up then.
Hey guys, so I'm Brian Rapella. I'm a commercial appraiser, a little bit different because I'm with a national company, Joseph Blake and Associates, and so I sort of manage Northern California and Northern Nevada. My territory actually extends up to the Pacific Northwest and Alaska and Hawaii as well. But the majority of the work I do is here in Northern California in the Bay Area and up to Sacramento. I'm mostly interested in getting to know some more residential appraisers across California because I don't do kind of one-off residential. I'll do like, kind of large 20, $30 million homes or something. But as far as like estate work or anything like that, and normally litigation work as well for single family, I just kind of pass on those. So the residential appraisers that I've kind of known a lot of them are getting old and retiring, honestly. So I need to kind of backfill the people that I know. So I wanted to kind of network with some of you guys and just to see if I can refer some work out when it does come up. And normally on a regular basis, I'll get calls for residential properties. And so that's mainly why I'm here. I kind of do a little bit of everything. We do about 50% lender work and 50% non-lender work. The non-lender work is mostly trusts and estates, although I do expert witness work quite often and condemnation work as well. And I do specialize also in fractional ownership discounting and real estate holding entities, which I don't think a lot of appraisers do, real estate appraisers anyway. That's normally business folks do that. So I've been doing that for 20 something years. And so
Brian, is that limited to your area, or can you do that anywhere?
You can do it anywhere. Yeah, you don't necessarily have to be licensed, because when you're appraising say a 10% interest in an LLC that holds some real estate, you're not appraising the real estate. Well, we do as part of the the basis, the net value of that entity. But at the end of the day, you're appraising an interest in an entity, and you don't necessarily need to be licensed in a certain state to do that. Oftentimes, you have an entity that might own 10 properties across the country too. And, so I've kind of specialized in that little niche. I don't think a lot of, like I said, real estate appraisers do that. So generally that's kind of how I work and where I work. So
that's cool. Brian, send me an email with partial interest in the subject line so I can remember, because I've got a huge project I'm working on and there's partial interest needed, valuations needed.
Sure, I'll do that.
And I don't really know anybody.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, it's mostly business valuation people do that, but I found that business valuation people aren't necessarily really equipped to handle entities that just hold real estate, because you really have to understand the real estate too.
Yeah. Aaron, you want to go? All right, how about Nelson?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm ready now, unless Nelson is ready to go. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So I'm a little bit differently than you all. I'm not an appraiser, but I'm director of ops for 2 appraisal companies here in Central California. Really good to hear that some of you need residential appraisers, because we do that also, on top of our commercial business that we handle pretty much everything across the board. Obviously, being in Kern County, we do a ton of ag, but we also do conservation easements. We just had some really crazy mitigation things with endangered species that we were working on. And yeah, we just covered a lot. We have 5 appraisers, 3 MAIs. We've grown our business over the last 2 years a lot using our website, sending out a newsletter, and also really optimizing our SEO, which has grown our Google business page dramatically. We've probably had, I would say, 40% more online orders this year than we did previously.
Aaron, where are you sending the newsletter to? What clients?
Sorry, what's the name of the company?
We're Central California Appraisals.
Is it Michael Berger?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good.
Yes. Owner is Michael Berger. Newsletters go out to, so what we do is we've just built our database of estate attorneys, CPAs, agents, etc. We have a database of people now, and we're sending it out to over 3,000 people on a bi-monthly or monthly basis.
Nice. Yeah, you have a nice website. I could imagine you convert a lot of people. It's a nice website, the Central California Appraisals.
Thanks. Yeah, we started working on that really hard about 2 years ago. So it definitely has made a difference.
Nice. And how much lender base versus non-lender base? What's your mix?
We're about 60% private right now, 40% lender. We were the opposite 2 years ago.
Nice. That's some good growth.
Yeah. So, and we cover 14 different counties in the state. So we're here to help.
Awesome. Nelson, Robert, or Tracy, one of you guys want to go?
Robert's here. Hello,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Robert.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't know if you heard me. Yeah, I'm a certified residential appraiser and a broker with Century 21. And I'm living in Sacramento, and I do mainly, the residential mortgage work and a little bit of non-lending. I'd really like to increase my non-lending part because I'm getting tired of depending upon interest rates for my living. Been really tough. So, yeah, I've been appraising for about 23 years, and I do most of my work for the VA. And I tell you, if it wasn't for the VA, I'd be dead. They have really, done well with me and given me the kind of work that I need at the right pricing that I need. And I just find currently that the AMCs have just taken over the entire, appraisal business, really, from ordering to payment to revisions. And a lot of them are trying to hire away appraisers and pay them half the salary that they normally should make. So I'm very frustrated with what I'm seeing in the appraisal business these days and how they have literally taken over the business,
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page with that one. I've been on the VA wait panel for probably 15 years, and the thing is, I think they just put people on when the old VA appraisers die. I think that's the only time they add people in my area. So I've been on for so
It
long.
could be
trying to get on
because
VA
I
panel.
hard to get on, and they're the fairest group to work with. They pay the correct,
Yeah.
fee, and they're just a great place to work with. And I was normally getting about 3 appraisals a week, which was great until I retired. And I've been doing appraising for 23 years, international sales business. And so now I'm in my mid 70s and I still enjoy it, really. I don't want to. And I'm also a real estate broker with Century 21. So the combination has been good over the years. But lately, the AMC thing has just.
Yeah, that's your
What's that?
window. The Century 21 is your window into getting the non-lender work from agents. Pre-listing stuff, cash buyers, stale listings.
Yeah,
That's
I
your
do.
window. You're already an agent.
I do get some, and I do some trust work for some attorneys, and I do, again, property appraisals for people that are looking to price their properties. But generally, most of my business is from the mortgage business, and I'm getting so tired of being dependent upon interest rates that's killing me. I branch out into more non-lending type business, but in addition to the VA, so.
Yeah. Tracy, you want to go? I'm not sure if your mic works. I know you posted something in the chat there.
I see Tracy said her mic doesn't work, but she posted in the chat that
okay.
she's been at it 23 years and complete mostly lender work.
Got it. But this is my partner, Chris Miller, by the way. He's helping with the referral network.
Yeah, everybody. I'm Chris Miller. I'm not an appraiser, but I've been a partner with Dan in the platform since it started, and learning a lot about the business, though.
Yeah, we're also best friends. So, but
yeah, we've known each other a long time.
But it's like a trainee having to teach him everything about the appraisal business to understand the network.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, go to the next slide and we'll just, we'll have an open forum, open topic. What do you guys want to talk about? New UAD forms, AMCs, what's going on out in California? I have no idea what happens in your market. Anybody want to throw a topic out there and we can chat about it?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, about the 3.6, new upgrade coming up in the future, and I tried to take a couple of seminars, but it doesn't seem to focus on what the form really looks like and how intense it is, and do they offer any kind of, like, through McKissick or anything for the new 3.6 UAD form?
I seem to get emails probably once a week for classes for the new UAD form. I think there's just one approved course, and I think AI is offering it, a lot of them, McKissick, and a lot of the education providers, and it's the same course. I think it's the same 7-hour course that's been approved.
Oh, it's been approved. Okay, so I'll look up.
But it looks scary. I haven't taken the course
I'll
yet.
check them out. Oh, okay.
You
Yeah,
have,
yeah, I'm
Robert, do you have a
getting
camera
nervous
on you?
it because
Do you have a camera on you? Because there's just your name showing.
yeah, I'm on my phone. I'm writing up an appraisal report as we're doing this, so I've got to finish this thing tonight. So I'm not on my regular computer. I'm using my iPhone. So
Throw it out there. We'll help you with your analysis.
so I'm sitting here typing away while I'm. Yeah, hey, yeah, with this value, what should I do with this thing, man? It's so low, I got to bump it up, So, just kidding. So.
Yeah. So who's taking the new UAD course? Anybody, is anybody really ready for it? Your software provider? What do you got?
I've listened to a few seminars, but they didn't really focus on what it actually looks like, how detailed the information required is. And I'm getting a little concerned, about how complicated this is going to be in a revision. So I understand it's supposed to come out sometime in 26, but I've heard, toward the end of 26. So is that the time frame?
I think next year, yeah, next September, next September 2026, I think is the time frame.
Okay, so what gives us time to get smart, and figure this thing out. So, it's like any new trick, you got, it takes time to learn a new trick, so it's just another change, but I don't know how complicated this new change is. So
how many people how much of the vocation do you think is going to be lost with the new learning the new UAD form? Do you think a lot of people are going to retire or move on to other professions instead of having to learn it?
Well, that's kind of a silly thing to do, really. I've been doing this for 23 years, and I think it's like a new trick. I don't think it can be that complicated. I mean, my God, it's just a new form. But I just understand there's a difference involved, and I think once you learn what that format is, it's just a matter of repeating it and learning, all the new characteristics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think some older appraisers may retire, but I'm 76 and I'm still cranking, and I sell real estate and I do appraising and I still enjoy working. So until my brain fails, hopefully not, but I think I'll still keep working probably into my mid 80s at this point, depending on health, but I feel okay. So, and it's, again, tricks always take a little bit of time and they're always a little bit daunting in the beginning, but I think once you learn the format and repeat the process, it'll all become easy, just like the current version, So a little bit more about it and what it all entails. I'm a little lost on, are there drop-down boxes or is there more narrative? Is there, I've got to see the form. I've got to feel it, to know what they're looking for. So,
I feel like they're not even
has
ready.
anybody seen the form?
Just snippets.
in
I've
parts
just
of
just
it.
snippets.
It covers all residential property, so you don't have to go to different forms, for 2 units or 4 units or single family. You use the
Oh,
same.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the software providers are going to be
The same form.
I couldn't imagine the glitches that they're going to have to work in this thing out.
Yeah.
So this is completely out of my wheelhouse because I don't use forms, I don't do residential, so it's fascinating to hear. But have you guys heard of this? And I only see it on LinkedIn, and Dan, maybe you've seen it because you're active on LinkedIn. This company Regora, who's promising 24-hour appraisals nationwide. And I just don't understand how that would even work and what that looks like. Do you know anything about them?
I've seen it come out there. I think they're sending property data collectors out there, gathering the information and sending it in-house to their own team to prepare the report. I think that's how they're creating that turn time. I think it's just a turn time of getting the property inspector out there, whether that's a real estate agent or whoever's going out there, just collecting the data and then processing it like ASAP within 24 hours.
So the appraiser does not inspect the property?
I don't think so with their plan.
Wow.
Well, it sounds like that they're a data collection company, so a lot of companies are out there doing that, and they supply you data, and you're supposed to read out the report and take the risk, right? So,
What about licensing
I
in
don't
each
think
state?
data collectors need to be licensed. So
Yeah, it sounds
I'm
like a
not sure.
recipe for some kind of disaster at some point on many levels. But I just, like I said, I'm so far removed from that, and they got like 18 or 20 million dollars of funding. I know, and just
Crazy.
must be something there.
Is it just residential, Brian?
I assume it is. I mean, there's no way you can do that on a commercial property.
Hey, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a problem. Like, I don't know why there's this big rush for time. Like, what? If somebody's taking out a $500,000 loan on a house, the appraisal's not the holdup. The appraisal can be done in like a week. There's no holdup from the appraisal end. It's the other things. I don't know why they're putting focus on the appraiser and having to rush it. That doesn't make any sense to me. So there's way more behind it.
Yeah.
I think it's the rush, and also the dollars involved too. It's costs less money. Everybody's trying to save money, right? And in the meantime, all of us appraisers are starving because we're not making the kind of money we should be making. And what's getting me that lately is bidding on assignments. I mean, some of these AMCs are wanting you to bid $250, which is, I never made $250 since I started in 2002. It's always been at least 400, and and things have changed, and everything's gone up. So, what right do they have to bid out assignments and look for the lowest bid? That's extremely disturbing to me. So,
I don't know how their clients are comfortable with that business model. It never makes sense to me. Like, this AMC is looking for the lowest bidder so they can make the most margin on this assignment. How is a client happy with that? It's beyond me how they can be happy with that.
I don't get it myself. I did a study, and I did a couple of bids on some of these appraisals that were basic appraisal, and I bid it at one at 300, didn't get it. Bid one at 275, did not get it. Bid one at 250, didn't get it. I mean, how low can you go, and how hungry are you? And there's a lot of starving, broke certified appraisers these days that have no business, so they're willing to take these jobs at $200 or 225. But it's destroying the industry. My classes are expensive. Everything's expensive. Gas. I can't survive on $200 per appraisal.
Especially in California.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the price of gas, is double of what it is somewhere else. So
I try not to do lender work for that reason.
Yeah, that's the best way is to diversify.
Yeah, I
That's
wish
the
I
only
had.
thing. That's going to be the only saving grace for appraisers is diversifying and getting a. I still like doing lender work, just not just with direct lenders. But diversifying it takes the pressure off you.
Yeah, I really would like to get more non-lending work, and I think that's the answer is more non-lending, assignments. But it's not easy to get that in my area for me. I get a very few non-lender assignments. And I've tried contacting attorneys,
Appraisal
and I do
management
have
companies
a
are
group that
greedy.
it's amazing. They charge probably $700, $800, $900 per appraisal. If they pay you $250, guess who's making the lion's share? The AMC and them. I mean, they were, created initially to safeguard the industry or something. But it's a joke. What other industry do we have that somebody has to be protecting us or insulating us from the client? It doesn't fit the current business models. It's just these guys have created a monster, and I think that's the biggest problem in our appraisal business these days. Is the AMC, who has taken over the entire appraisal business, I think, except for non-lending work. But they control the whole scenario from bidding an appraisal assignment and dealing with corrections, and they're making the lion's share, and they're treating you like I'm just an employee of the appraisal man. I'm just a cog in their wheel, and they're making the money and I'm not, and it's extremely upsetting. So.
And it's just hurting the consumer. That's all it's doing. It's giving them the less qualified appraiser at the highest fee possible.
Absolutely. And there's not even any need for them to split out the payment as far as what's paid to the AMC and what's paid to the appraiser. I don't even think they have to do that. There's no breakdown.
Yeah,
So
no, and the consumers don't know. The consumers don't know that this is happening. So they don't know that appraiser who went to their house is making $300 and they're making, $500 margin on it, which is crazy.
It is crazy. And how fair is that? And why can't we speak up? Why don't we unionize? Why don't we do something to step in and take over this business again? Take it away from these AMCs. They've created a horrible situation. And I'm struggling to survive. I'm semi-retired, but I still need to work. And it's like letting these guys make the money, and when we're doing the work, we're the one with the experience and the knowledge, and they're making the money. There's something wrong with this picture.
Yeah, it's almost like I feel like every trade organization needs to come together in the appraisal profession, and have a united voice and have a united marketing campaign, getting all this message out there. I think they all need to come together and do that.
Well, they had an interesting meeting lately. The BREA had a town hall meeting about a month ago, and they invited most of the local appraisers here in Sacramento to attend, and maybe it was national, I don't know, but most of the complaints on that meeting were AMCs and how they are controlling the business and they're bidding out assignments. And I almost refuse to bid on assignments anymore because it's a joke. I'm not going to work for $200. I'd rather starve, I think, than work for $200 anymore. Well, maybe not, but anyhow, it's a travesty what they've done, and I think that was a major concern on the town hall meeting with the BREA was what's happening with the AMCs.
So regarding fees, I know I hear it all the time when I send clients to commercial appraisers. They always come back and be like, wow, that is way more than I thought it would be. So why are you guys' fees so seem to be much higher? What can I tell my clients why it's so much more difficult to do in a commercial job? Because I'm always like, yeah, commercial's harder. That's what I say. That's my only default.
Well, yeah.
More than
Yeah, but it's not easy to do a multifamily residential appraisal is not easy either. When you do units, it takes time.
Yeah, I think it's just oftentimes there's at least two approaches to value, maybe three, and there's just complicated. There's a lot of hoops to jump through. There's a lot of data to collect. You got to normally talk to every broker on every sale to verify it, because you'll get a sale of an office building or retail building with financial information and a cap rate, and that doesn't really mean anything until you get the story. So it's not just like an MLS and sort of relying on that. You have to really confirm all these comps, and sometimes they're complicated. Even the simplest of projects, there's some kind of hair on them that takes time. My people, every time I say, "Oh, this one's going to be an easy one, don't worry about it," it's the kiss of death. 'Cause always,
Yeah, right.
there's the easement, or it could be anything. So at a point, and we have a lot more overhead too. We have just huge expenses with data sources and everything else. So that's probably what contributes to most of it. Yeah, but people that aren't experienced with knowing what the fees are for commercial appraisals normally just fall off their chairs. But that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Are you doing a lot of like restricted appraisals? What do you do most of?
No, restricted, hardly at all.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, in certain cases we do, but a lot of them, we'll do. Obviously for lender, you need a full appraisal report, but
Right.
even for what we're doing with, the trust and estate work, you need a full report there. They normally don't like restricted reports at the IRS. And even with like a market rent, I'm just looking at a market rent arbitration right now. It's almost a full appraisal report, because you have to go in and, it's not a litigation matter. It could be, a third appraiser could be involved, and you have to have a bulletproof appraisal. And so here you go. So it's rare that we do sometimes for clients for internal planning purposes that, or just financial reporting. We'll do more restricted reports, but even the restricted reports are 30 pages instead of 80 to 100 pages kind of thing.
Right.
And you still
I will
got to do the work. It's just not in the report.
Yeah, you got to have the whole job file there. So, and that's what people don't understand. Oh, well, I only need a 10-page report. Well, it doesn't matter. That's not what takes so long. We have report writing software, and with AI and everything, you can probably really get your reports written pretty easily and quickly now, more so than ever. And so like Charles, like you said, it's you still have to have it all there. It doesn't save much time in a restricted format.
So, Brian, I will say I learned a ton from that IRS agent. What the IRS expects on that panel we were doing. I learned a ton from that IRS appraiser, which was really good information. My biggest takeaway is the burden is on the taxpayer, or the taxpayer can basically give them anything, and it's on them. It's on the IRS to dispute it if they don't agree with it, but they can basically give them anything.
Yeah, there's really no. I mean, for there's, I don't know, we won't get into that, but there's estate tax and gift tax, and those appraisals, they don't have to really meet really super stringent standards. I know that not like appraisals for income tax, like if you're doing like a conservation easement or anything where you're getting a tax deduction, that's a whole different ballgame. But people, if they purchase a property and they have an appraisal from a bank, and somebody dies within 3 or 6 months, they can submit that appraisal, and even though it's not the same data value, that people do that. So but the appraisals, they still need to have they still need to be logically sound, and
Right.
walk the reader through and everything else. But
Yeah, they need to hold up. But it seems
Yeah,
like
they
there's
do.
a lot of leeway that the IRS gives, which I thought they were super strict, but like it didn't seem that way from what she was explaining in her in her panel, in the panel.
Yeah, it's interesting. People are just afraid of the IRS normally in general, but I've known probably most of at least on the West Coast, the IRS, they call them engineers, I guess, over the last 20, 25 years. And they're just, people like us. They just want to see a sound appraisal, and they want to see that you did your work. And then if you did, okay, good.
What presentation was this, or what seminar?
What was this anyway? Oh, okay. Yeah. So I had, there was, so normally I've been like the chair and, you know, involved in the Appraisal Institute Fall Conference in the Bay Area. It's an annual conference in South San Francisco. But this one, the first time I was involved in the Monterey Bay, it was a half-day symposium and it was online, and we changed the name to kind of rebranding it to like the Central California Conference. And so it was just a half day of, you know, various speakers and things all on Zoom. And Dan was gracious enough to come on a panel that I was moderating about non-lender kind of avenues to get work. And, you know, a lot of that was really focused on appraisals for the IRS and pitfalls and what to look for and what to do and what not to do. And that kind of thing. So that's going to come around every year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I got it was a great takeaway for me, even being on the panel, hearing her speak. I really liked learning more about that process, because I do a lot of like stepped up basis stuff, some gift tax stuff. So I really never heard. I don't know anybody, an IRS appraiser. I don't know anybody. Haven't networked with them. I didn't know anything about it besides the regulations, reading in the regulations. That's about
Right.
it.
Yeah, I know I know they're kind of few and far between. They're just not really staffed as well as they should be, honestly, too. So, but you know, like I said, they're just they're appraisers like you and me, and they just, you know, the red flags are where just something's just way out of whack, right? Like, oh, the property was bought a year ago for $1 million, and you're saying it's now worth $2.5 million or something. I mean, that's going to draw the obvious red flag. But if you know, if you're, you know, a halfway decent appraiser, you're probably not going to really get questioned unless there's just something.
And they didn't care that it was the Fannie Mae definition of market value instead of fair market value. It didn't really matter, at least for the estate returns and stuff.
Right. You'd think that would be something that they would just ding really easily. Like, you didn't use the fair market value definition, but at the end of the day, the value definitions are kind of all the same anyway. And so they've got a lot of leeway on that kind of stuff. Now, if you're doing an appraisal for like I said, income tax, it's completely different. They'll tear you apart for, you know, getting something wrong. But it's just a kind of a weird dynamic. And honestly, a lot of the reports I submit, I bet thousands I've done to the IRS. I've only been questioned twice. And I was able to just provide some detail on why my values were where they were. And then that was it. It just kind of went away. So I think these egregious things you see from the IRS have to do with people that are just being unscrupulous. And like, I know conservation easements, that was a big thing for the last 15 or so years, that people were just really taking advantage of that. And there was a couple of bad players that, you know, kind of give that a bad rap. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, it's just like an appraisal like any other appraisal.
Yeah. So how did the IRS contact you when they had a disagreement with your appraisal or had some questions? What did they do?
Through my attorney client, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then, well, one of them was, we did like it was right around 2005, 6. And I forget if it was a 6-month value or something like that. But anyway, it was when the market was really taking off. And we valued some properties on one date, and then they sold at a different value. But that was really, I mean, that was probably the most highest trajectory you've ever seen through 4, 5, 6 and into 7. And so we were just able to just give them some market data to show, well, this is what the market's been doing. This is why our values are so high. And then they went away. And then another one was, the only other time was with a fractional interest value. I gave a very high discount, but there was a very good reason for it. And I don't think they even read my report, but when I explained why, they said, okay, you know, so knock on wood, right? So I've never yet testified in tax court. I've actually wanted to testify in tax court, but, you know, it hasn't gotten there because presumably I'm hoping that's because I give them good appraisals, but, you know, who knows?
I've just I've been had 2 options at federal court, bankruptcy court. I was close 2 times, but they didn't need me like the day before or the week before on both of them.
Yeah.
But just normal old county court for me. Circuit.
Yeah, I enjoy the expert witness testimony. That's something to really get into, because I don't think appraisers kind of run from that generally. They don't like to be on the witness stand really at all. So I mean, it just pays very well. So the hard thing with that is the cases can just drag on for, you know, years. You know, you'll do a bunch of work on it, and then okay, the case is continued, and it's continued, and then you got to pick it back up again 6 months or a year later, Of course, you pay your client for that, but you charge a client, but you know, they can just linger for a long time. And I think a lot of appraisers don't like that either. They like to churn and burn, you know, and get them off your desk. But yeah, take the good with the.
I do a lot of divorce work, and that lands me in court a lot. Well, not a lot, maybe a 7 times a year. But that's the only time it lands me. It's when they can't agree on the price, and it's just like a formality going to court. The attorneys don't know anything about the appraisal process, specifically family law attorneys. They know nothing about it. So their questions are ridiculous, and any trainee can answer their questions probably that are asked in court.
Yeah.
At least in my market. That's in my market.
Yeah, you see a lot of stuff, right? It's funny. My old boss used to say, he's like, well, death is great because, you know, there's a need for an appraisal, but divorce is even better because there's a need for 2 appraisals. So there's always that situation where they're just going to fight to the every tooth and nail. They don't care what they spend on anything. They just want to bury the other person, which is kind of sad, but you know, it does pay the bills sometimes too. So
yeah, I actually enjoy that divorce work. It's most of my business. Like 40% is divorce work.
Wow, really interesting. Yep. And so mostly through like a network of attorneys, or you have like
it's a network of attorneys referring their clients.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So that just works in my market. I know I spoke to somebody else. I think they were in California, and attorneys don't really refer. And most of their business was coming from like people finding them on the internet who was going through the divorce process instead of the attorney referring the appraiser. But in my market, it seems like a lot of attorneys just refer me to their clients.
Okay.
So
that's great. So, well, I got the names of all you guys written down here, and so it's good to know you and refer. Like I said, I try to refer residential work out for sure, but there's cases where I won't want to necessarily do some kind of commercial work too. So that's great.
Yeah, if nobody has anything else, we'll just wrap it up here. But the goal is to try and have these have a quarterly get together or whatever with each region. And we're looking for appraisers to lead their region, and we'll support you, give you all the emails and stuff to send out, and just have a meeting like this, just like an open forum, get to know each other. It doesn't need to be an hour long. It could be a half hour long, but the goal is just to get appraisers, you know, on the same page with each other and learning who's in your market. And then hopefully that could lead to business between each other and helping each other, a win-win. So if anybody's interested in leading their region, just let me know. It's like a quarterly meeting, and it takes maybe 30 minutes, an hour, once a quarter. And we'll give you a free membership to the website, elite membership. But the goal is just to help appraisers. That's all we're trying to do around the country.
That's a good point. You know, we need to keep in contact. You know, things happen and we're not organized. So, and most of the time it's spent alone writing up reports. So it's good to communicate. So,
do we have a list of names and contact information?
What's that again? Say that again.
Is there a list of our names with our contact information?
So everybody who is on this call today is a part of the network. So you can go to that map and you can click on anybody and know who's around you. So like that map of California, we have a ton of appraisers. That's why we started over there. You can go on that map and see who's around you, see their names, all their contact information, everything, if you want to send a referral or anything like that. So everybody's on this map right here.
And how do we have access to this map?
Just are you a member of the website? The referral network?
As far as I know. I mean, I just registered for this meeting.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll get you registered for the website. You just log in and you can have access to the map, and you'll see all the appraisers in your area.
Actually, I'm pretty certain your name is you're registered on our website too. So, because I got all
so just log in. So just log into the website and you'll pull up this map. If you have any trouble, just send an email back to
What's the website address?
referappraisals.com.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm going to put it in the chat just so you can everyone can copy and paste it.
But other than that, yeah, we're just trying to get this going around the country where the clusters of appraisers are, and we'll see what happens. The goal is to connect, and we'll see what develops from here. I assume a lot of opportunities will open up for everybody who is a part of them.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Dan, for putting this together.
Yeah,
All
thank you
right,
very
you're
much.
welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to meet all
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah, likewise,
lot.
guys. Thanks for attending.
All right.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
meeting
Bye.
everyone.
Have a good evening, everyone.
You
Bye.
too.